Oh, when they gave me the call, I was there. I didn't even consider it. I just went in and got the shot.
I had two voices the whole time. I didn't want to get it, but I went through with it.
I was never like, no, I'm not gonna get this.
And I didn't feel any reason to feel fear at that point.
I was waiting, that's the side that I was on.
I wanted to get out of Canada. I wanted to get on a ship.
I was planning my wedding. We wanted to go to Ireland.
I was about to be put on an unpaid leave of absence if I was not vaccinated.
We were all very afraid of catching it, so we were all on board with whatever they wanted us to do.
I am sick, the worst I've ever been in my life, and I haven't really gotten any help.
Sorry.
My legs started to tremble.
I started feeling itchy.
I'm really dizzy.
Got a racing heartbeat.
Rapid heart rate.
Just pound, thought I was having a heart attack.
Someone stabbing you.
Everything just felt really tight.
Like a 500-pound weight.
I've seen stroke, paralysis,
My body went completely numb.
Immune dysregulation.
Kidney problems.
blood clots.
Miscarriages.
Shortness of breath.
Hallucinations.
Myocarditis.
The most extreme menstrual event.
Something was really not okay.
What happened here?
Things were going wrong.
And I fell right on my face.
I made my peace.
Thought I was a goner.
I thought I was dying.
What about the future? What is this doing inside me and everybody else now? Why do the general public not know?
Why are we not warning people about this?
Why the push?
Obviously, they all know.
Why blocking those treatments?
Why are they hiding my story?
What is this truly about?
What's going on in society?
Because this isn't normal.
Makes no sense whatsoever.
And the thought of me giving my children that are all under 10 this vaccine is terrifying.
This line has been crossed.
How did it get to this place?
To me, it's a game that a 10-year-old could see through.
It becomes more real when it happens to someone that you know.
I'm scared to death still. Glad to be alive.
I'm not anti-vax. I had the vax. So I don't know where I fit in right now. I'm just trying to get healthy. That's basically it.
There's got to be a solution.
What about having a system set up for adverse effects? Why not that method?
Nothing heals the human body except the human body.
I'm looking at actual scientific studies.
Why aren't we trusting the most brilliant minds of the world?
They're treating this, but nobody's listening.
It's been removed, it's been blocked, it's not available.
They're taking away the best choice that we're seeing.
And we all need to start talking about it.
We need to wake up and figure it out.
They can work with the natural medicine just as effectively.
And that really changed things.
It's changed my life completely. It's all natural.
We're just not hearing about it on mainstream media.
Enough is enough.
Turn off the TV.
Get involved with the people around you.
I'm going to keep sharing my story.
I'm not going to stop fighting for what I believe in.
If you just ask why, that's when the divisiveness will end.
No, we don't comply.
I am not an anti-vaxxer.
I'm not an anti-vaxxer.
I'm not an anti-vaxxer.
Can't say that.
I am pro-choice.
I'm a fact finder.
I'm a truth seeker, and what I'm sharing with you is the truth.
This is not disinformation.
I am not disinformation.
This is not a conspiracy theory. This is real.
My story is real.
My story is real.
My story is real.
The story is real.
My story is real.
That's my story.
Please listen to my story.
Please listen to my story.
Please listen to my story.
I am real. I am a real person. I exist. You exist.
It's your choice. And that's being taken away from us.
I'm not misinformation.
Catch the 1 in a million type adverse effects until we have given sort of enough doses to enough people. So with regards to adults, I mean, we've given literally more than 10 billion doses of these vaccinations around the world. So we have a very good idea of exactly how safe they are, and they are incredibly safe. Like I said, in the States, they've already given out over 1 million doses to kids in the 5 to 11 year range. So we are keeping an eye on that data as well, and Health Canada and NACI will also continue to keep an eye on local data.
Is the formula itself different for kids? If it is 10 micrograms, why do we have to wait for a different delivery?
Yeah, that's a good question, and I don't believe that the formula is any different from the adult one. Now, again, I don't have access to the nitty gritty of that, but I believe
My name is Byron Vader. I'm 50 years old. I'm a builder. I'm an athlete, a long distance runner, ultra marathon runner. Work out regularly. I'm also an artist, sculptor. Physical fitness is my main passion. But right now it's, I just don't know. I don't, the body just is so delicate. Any form of stress, physically or mentally, I'm so fragile. And so I'm just walking this line, trying to push as best I can and do what I can. It was the best place I could be while I was sick, with my mind so troubled that doing this, that I've done it so much, it still was tough. The effects were so sickening that it didn't give me complete peace, but it gave me a bit of a home. I'm here. I'm still here. I was scared of the COVID. I was in the middle of a job in a lady's house, and I shut down the job because I didn't want to be in their house. Maybe I could infect them. I didn't know at the beginning.
Well, at the beginning, it was a bit nerve-wracking because I work in a homeless shelter. So, you're dealing with people that are in the public daily, not necessarily being able to cover themselves or protect themselves from what the pandemic said it was at the time, right?
You're hearing about, the cases in China, and at that point it seemed so distant that we didn't have to worry about it. But once we heard about cases in, North America and Canada, yeah, it was like everybody else. We were scared. We didn't know what to expect.
When we first heard about the global pandemic, reports were coming in from all over the world, and it sounded really dire.
I was probably more scared than most people. When I heard that it was a respiratory illness, I was very concerned for myself because I was like, well, I don't know how this is going to impact me and my asthma. So I definitely took it very seriously.
In my place that I rent, I actually moved out and into the yard, into a camper, and set up a little camp for myself to give space between me and my roommate, just because I wanted to do the right thing. I wanted to, the spirit that was being produced at that time was to help your neighbor, to your family, your friends, isolate, wear a mask, and so I took it very seriously.
And I vote and I do my civic duty, and so we were willing to listen to the 2 weeks to flatten the curve, We stockpiled toilet paper and bought rice, and we stayed home, right? We were really careful, sanitized.
Maybe washed my hands a little more than I probably used to, bought a little more hand sanitizer, but I wasn't really predicting this sort of pandemic. So I guess it really didn't affect me at first.
At the time when the COVID was starting to pick up, it was people that were, sick already, elderly, weak immune systems.
One of the nurses came in and said, "Oh, get the shot," and how the pressure was on from the video and the radio, I should say, and the TV. You want to be able to hug your grandchildren and all this.
The media made it sound like it was so contagious and people were dying and the death was horrific.
There was a lot of fear. There was a lot of pervasive fear that was happening. We were afraid of getting sick, basically. Yeah, which made us afraid of everyone around us.
We were all very afraid of catching it. And so we were all on board with whatever they wanted us to do.
Oh, when they gave me the call, I was there. I didn't even consider it. I just went in and got the shot.
At the beginning, I definitely didn't want to take the vaccine. I wasn't planning on taking the vaccine. Work wasn't pressuring us.
I was about to be put on an unpaid leave of absence if I was not vaccinated.
I'm in my childbearing 8 years. I don't have a kid yet. I had just suffered a miscarriage. I wanted to wait to see other people get the shot and see if they were going to get pregnant, etc.
I was planning my wedding. We wanted to go to Ireland for our honeymoon. And at that point, international travel was going to mandate the vaccine. That's kind of, the big factor.
What made me was I wanted to get out of Canada. I wanted to get on a ship, and I just wanted to go see my family. before I went and started working back on ships, because on ships I'm gone 6 to 9 months, depending on what I take, right?
I was really reluctant to get it at first because I have a history of autoimmune issues, and even though I have all the vaccines from, high school for all the big diseases.
I mean, as a child, I received all my childhood vaccines. I received all the vaccines required of me to enter into nursing school and become a nurse. So no, I'm not anti-vax. I vaccinated my own child.
I was never like, no, I'm not going to get this. I was waiting. That's the side that I was on. Definitely not anti-vaccine. I've had every vaccine in my life that's ever been offered to me. Because I'm asthmatic, I would get a flu shot every year. Like I literally got a flu shot every year up until 2019.
I didn't want to get it at all. My mother, 11 years ago, dropped to the ground, paralyzed from the neck down, and has been on a ventilator ever since after receiving the H1N1 vaccine.
The longer that I researched and looked at things, I thought, no, I'm not going to get it. I'm going to wait it out, see what happens, see if anybody grows fins or not. I kept saying that, but not very many people have a sense of humor these last 2 years.
And I would go on my phone, and I swear, like every time I opened it, it was a new friend of mine posting that they had gotten their shot and they had their little sticker. And I'm a people pleaser, so I like to fit in. So that started to get to me. I was like, oh no, like, am I the only person that's not getting this?
That's human nature. People don't like to be the outsider. People don't like to be, the one that doesn't fit in. So that's a tactic to get people to become vaccinated.
I should get the shot. It was like a mixture of the pressure, the peer pressure of like everyone else doing it, and then my nurse friend telling me that I would end up very sick if I got COVID.
Just responding to the pressure from the TV and radio. That's all.
I have elderly in-laws and elderly parents, so I figured I'm healthy. There's nothing wrong with me. I've got no underlying health conditions. So the risk should be minimal, and that's what you're told.
I'm anaphylactic to all aspirins, ibuprofens, amoxicillin, penicillin, tetracycline, sulfur drugs. I didn't know what was in it, and I had no idea, so I thought, I'm not going to take it. I don't want to have to end up in the hospital or die on my way to the hospital. So my doctor said it was fine for me to take. So I trust my doctor,
And I didn't feel any reason to fear at that point. Now I realize I should have been more alert.
Literally walking into the building, I had crazy anxiety about it.
I didn't feel right. My instincts were telling me no, but my mind was telling me yes. My mind, what I've heard in the news, and I just thought, I got to do the right thing. This is what you do.
I went down to the vaccine clinic. I didn't want to get it. I was, I had two voices the whole time. I didn't want to get it, but I went through with it. Afterwards, I wish that I hadn't got it. I still wish that I didn't have it,
My children's father had a very severe adverse reaction to the Pfizer vaccine a few months ago. And we were waiting to see if his was life-threatening before I got mine. But that didn't happen before my mandatory need your first dose date for work by came. So I ended up getting the first dose, and this happened.
He said, you'll get a headache, which is true, and you'll be tired, and you'll have a sore arm. But that'll be fine. Okay. So when he said it, that's an imperative, that was the wording, imperative, that I take it. So I was, okay then, I guess it's safe for me to take.
There was a bunch of lineups, and then I sat down with a nurse, and she talked to me. I think there was something she gave me to read, but he didn't. It was basically, you went from a line to another line, then you sat down.
There would be no information on any kind of reaction. Oh, you'll be fine. That's what she said. Most people don't have any trouble. So that's the only kind of informed, non-informed consent that we had. It was just that you'll be okay.
I expressed my hesitations to the health nurse that was there, and they assured me that no, there's nothing to worry about, and we haven't seen any, these ones are safe. And
no, they did not tell me at all what some of the side effects. The only thing that was stated, and they stated that to my son, who doesn't really like shots, pretty much said the only thing is your arm will be sore.
And at that point, you never think, oh, should I ask if there's some kind of repercussions or some effects? You never think of that, because you sent it at that point. Even still, stupidly, I was trusting these people that had medical certifications. I don't know if I do anymore, but
you're doing the right thing, this is great. This was all on that level. There was nothing, I didn't feel any questioning at all.
I'm an RN. I've been an RN for about 21 years now. I work in a specialized area, cardiac.
I'm an occupational therapist, registered holistic nutritionist, and I'm a team lead with the Canada Health Alliance.
I'm the clinical director of Genoa Integrative Health and Wellness Center, the only sole phototherapy or photobiomodulation clinic in BC.
I'm a master of holistic health. I've worked in natural healthcare and medicine since the 80s, 1980s.
I'm here because I don't believe in the mandates, and I am really, really scared of this vaccine and what I've seen on my unit from this vaccine.
Evidence-based practice is what we are supposed to be doing. As well, we're supposed to be doing no harm. And both of those factors appear to be missing right now.
The stress that we're seeing, and as I mentioned, I work with practitioners across Canada and several in the States as well. I got one phone call about 3 weeks ago from a practitioner up in Vancouver Island, and she said, what is going on? What she's seeing in people: immune dysregulation, liver dysfunction, stress levels off the charts. And I'm hearing this from every practitioner that I've spoken to. People are coming in stressed, people are coming in agitated. Physiologically, stress stresses the adrenals. The adrenals put out more cortisol. Cortisol affects our insulin levels, our blood sugar levels, everything. And what these practitioners are seeing is the stress showing up in cardiovascular disease and neurovascular diseases in every aspect of the body.
We're seeing this huge bump now in people that were predominantly healthy before, no real underlying conditions, people that have been diagnosed now with COPD 2 months post-vaccine. Well, they never had lung problems before. We're seeing people with myocarditis, which is inflammation of the heart. We're seeing post-concussion type symptoms in people. People with having now kidney problems. They're having these weird bouts of fatigue and shortness of breath. We're seeing the brain fog. We're seeing the cognition impairments. We're seeing the chronic fatigue. But we're also seeing these incredible boosts in overall inflammatory processes.
Since the rollout of the vaccines, I have witnessed, just in my little unit, stroke, blood clots, paralysis. This one fellow came in with some weird jerking, coughing movements in his chest that nobody could explain, almost like spasms.
Probably about 6 hours in after the shot, my legs started to tremble. I was just sitting in the boat and I was trembling.
I thought, how come I'm really dizzy? And I just feel sick.
I started feeling itchy, palms, that.
Within 20 minutes of that, I had a sore throat.
At the 10-minute mark, I started getting like a racing heartbeat. It was like, I felt like it was pounding out of my chest. It was like super fast and super loud.
About 5 minutes after I left the facility, I'm in my car driving, and I had blurred vision. I couldn't see the road. I swerved over to park.
I almost felt like I had taken some sort of drug or alcohol or something. Like it was like a haze.
I'm still having problems with my memory. That's why I'm trying to close my eyes a lot, because The one thing is I have a foggy head, and it's been foggy since the 23rd night. And that's the night the first night I started to show things.
Couple hours later, I had full-blown muscle aches, this foggy headache that was just, it's really indescribable. It's like, I don't even know. It was just, something was really not okay with it.
I know that I was stuttering and stammering because my speech was not very good and my vision not very good either, but of course I wasn't looking out around much.
I had slurred speech. I had a headache.
And all of a sudden my vision started going blurry, like just a little bit. And then I started kind of freaking out, and I was like called over a nurse, and I said, I don't feel good.
But I started to get this really weird, like metallic taste in my mouth, and everything just felt really tight, which I recognized from, I get really bad inflammation and pain from autoimmune disease, and that's what it felt like. Everything was just locking up, like everywhere.
Rapid heart rate, not pain, but just really bad pressure in my chest, unable to breathe.
I honestly thought I was having either a stroke or an anaphylactic shock.
The next couple days, the legs trembled more. I started feeling a little bit of nausea. I started feeling a little bit of dizziness. And by day 4, I couldn't take it anymore. I was starting to really shake. I sat on the shore, and everything was spinning and moving. Like you'd turn your head and things would move, and things were going wrong.
I was right into outer space there with this dizziness, and I couldn't even see well by that time. I guess it struck me, and I just slipped and fell and broke my hip.
And then 3 hours later, I lost all motor function on my left side of my body, went completely numb, like a sleeping, tingling sense.
I started to get tingling in the legs and the arms. Probably a half an hour after that, my legs were completely numb. I had urinated myself and not known it. Didn't know what was going on. Didn't know if I was going to pass out. Couldn't really take a step without wondering, am I really actually taking a step, and is my foot touching the ground?
I had nausea, I had shortness of breath, rapid, like that, and started crying, and then hit the bed, hit the sheets for 12 hours.
And then when I woke up the next day, I got out of bed to get up, and I fell right on my face. So I knew there was something wrong then.
My guts and my whole demeanor, I said, I'm just losing my chi here. I'm just going downhill so fast. What happened here?
I couldn't even walk up a flight of stairs. I was like, what the hell? I'm like, this is not normal. Something is off. I felt like I had literally like a 500-pound weight on my chest. Like I just felt like I couldn't get a full breath in. It just felt uncomfortable. When I laid down, it was worse.
I shook more. I had tremors. I started having a vibration in my chest, like your phone is on vibrate and it's in your chest. Just a really bzzz going, wouldn't stop.
The pain just kept coming and coming and coming in waves, and it was sharp pains, like someone stabbing you. And that pain would like a ripple effect over your whole body. It would just go, let's say it was my left thigh that would hurt. I would get a shooting pain that would ripple to my entire body all the way up to my head.
Then I started spotting, like my menstruation, I started spotting. And then I had a 14-day period, which was the most extreme menstrual event that I've ever had in my life, like times 100. And it scared the crap out of me. It made me feel like if I had been of childbearing age, pregnant or wanting to get pregnant, that something may have been in danger, right?
And then my mind started to go. I started to get constant fight or flight mode. I just couldn't shut it off. There was no place in the house I could hide. There was nothing I can do. I found myself in the middle of the night trying to do drywall in the laundry room just to focus, because my mind was totally gone. It was absolutely terrifying. I've never been in that position.
For the 3 or 4 days at least after that, night and day, I kept having hallucinations. I thought, this is how people feel just before they commit suicide, because you're like in a great big bag of blackness and you can't seem to get out. And that was so scary. I don't know if I'm ever going to even want to recall it again. Even thinking about it now makes me upset.
It was pretty scary that moment. You know, I really thought I was a goner.
That night I had the worst sleep of my life. I thought I was dying.
I thought I was dying, 100%. I thought I was dying. I made my peace.
And I remember saying to my daughter on the phone, I just feel like I'm going to die.
My girlfriend called an ambulance. I thought I was having a heart attack. My heart would just pound. My blood pressure skyrocketed, heart rate, and my mind was totally gone.
And then there's people who've come in who were previously healthy, never had a health issue, and now they've come in with heart attack. I saw a couple young people come in with myocarditis, that's inflammation of the heart. I think one of them was 25, one of them was 29.
Ended up in the ER. I spent the entire day there. While I was in the waiting room in the ER, I was sitting across from one of my best friends and her 16-year-old daughter, who I got my dose Wednesday and she got her dose Friday, and she had the exact same symptoms as me.
I've never experienced chest pain in my life before. Again, I'm 30 years old. I'm young. I'm aside from having asthma and allergies, I was very healthy.
All of a sudden, I'm really sicker than I've been in my whole life. Never anything like this. And I am a healthy person. I eat healthy. I'm physically active. And this just took me down.
I was diagnosed at the hospital with pericarditis and pericardial effusion.
And they diagnosed me with left bundle branch block.
I had seen a doctor first thing. They recommended I get blood work, a chest x-ray. The blood work came back, my D-dimer levels were high, so that could have possibly indicated a blood clot. So they sent me for an emergency CT scan to make sure I didn't have a blood clot in my lungs.
CT scan, brain, heart, my blood work showed up high troponin, which is an enzyme that's produced when you have a heart attack. And so I stayed in the hospital, and they had me hooked up to all the wires, and they kept coming in my room and racing in and putting these new wires on because my heart was showing irregularities.
The next morning, I woke up and I thought I was having a heart attack. All the stress started coming. The nurse that was in there, she was amazing. She got like panic mode. Everybody started running, getting everything. They hooked me up to EKG. It showed that I had either a small heart attack or a stress attack.
And they observed fasciculations all over my body, under the skin. You just see these little twitches and movements. It was very, very uncomfortable. You couldn't sleep because the legs hurt so much. And all these things are common between all of us. All of us that I talk to in the adverse effects. The symptoms are the same. Some symptoms, I couldn't take a shower. Hot water would destroy me. Any bit of hot water and I would just be dizzy and on the floor and couldn't do anything. And that's common between all people. And then I couldn't shut my eyes because everything would spin too much. I have to open them immediately. And I've had friends who can't open their eyes. And then my pupils were so dilated that out here was so bright and so painful. And now I couldn't read I get up, I can't read my phone for days. Can't see it. It's all blurry. All my eyes went. And now I look at my eyes in the mirror, and still to this day, my eyes don't look like my eyes. The whites and the blues of my eyes are not my eyes. They're cloudier and dirtier looking, and they got more red bloodlines through them.
Even to this day, my vision is not as good. My memory is certainly not as good. And I'm only now, because of things that I've been doing to counteract it, is my mind starting to clear. But I would say, I think from this thing that my brain, a few brain cells were permanently damaged. And I especially feel that in the relationship of that awful nightmarish aftermath of hallucinations, that was a point where my head will never be the same.
I end up going and getting CT scan done. The neurologist came and see me, and his name was Dr. And he said, he started, first he started doing the normal thing. The vaccine's great. A vaccine does help a lot of people. And I was like, okay, fine. So then he starts talking to me a bit more. And I said, well, give it to me. Is it the vaccine injury? Is it from the vaccine? He goes, people have been having problems with this. I'm not going to say they haven't. With any vaccine, this is what happens in some cases. And yes, I think this is from the vaccine with you. And it's one of the worst I've seen.
They initially thought it was transverse myelitis. It's where the vaccine attacks the myelin of the spine, which is the protective sheath, I guess you could say, to all the nerves within your spine. They had told me that transverse myelitis was one of the rare, according to them, side effects from any vaccine, especially the COVID vaccine.
So I was there for 4 days. At the end of the 4 days, my doctor had come and told me he'd release me. And so I went to his office and he gave me basically some sleeping pills and crazy people pills and sent me home.
After spending the entire day at the hospital, I actually never did see a doctor again. A nurse came out and took my IV out and told me they're chalking it down to asymptomatic COVID, which is ridiculous because I had symptoms. And my COVID test came back negative.
But every time a nurse or a doctor came in, I would say, this is how this happened, and I feel so bad, because I was looking for therapy from the mental health people in the hospital and anybody that would listen to me, because it was such a scary experience. It was just out of this world.
They've seen it. They've seen multiple cases. When I was admitted to Providence, I was the 7th case they've seen that week with transverse myelitis. And that's the rarest of essentially acute issues that they had seen recently. There were other issues, but I was the 7th.
The doctor comes in, says, hi, I'm Dr. So-and-so. We can't find anything wrong with you. And so we're changing in your diagnosis from the vaccine injury to unknown. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. Like, what? And she goes, yeah, we can't find anything, so it's unknown. I said, well, Dr. told me the other night that it was from the vaccine. And she goes, yeah, we had a meeting with the doctor and he knows now that it's unknown. I was like, okay, this is crap. So at this time, the nurse who's, visibly right beside me, visibly shaken, she starts trembling a bit. And I know she's not scared of whatever is happening. I know she's mad about this. It's just a sense or you can feel, right? And so the doctor, I said, are you serious? Like, how am I in the hospital? What is this a coincidence? And she's like, coincidence. There you go. And I'm like, well, this is ridiculous. She goes, I'm not going to sit here and argue with you. Just get yourself ready. We're discharging you. And I was like, whoa.
The doctor comes back and I said to her, I'm like, well, do you think it's because of the shot? And as soon as I brought up the shot up, it was like I had touched the most taboo topic of all time. And I was like, wow, I could tell that the emergency doctor literally did not want to talk about it. She didn't want to blame it. She almost seemed offended that I even asked that.
It's not discussed much on where I am, I'll be honest. Sometimes just in their history, it might be mentioned that the patient received the COVID vaccine, a few days ago, and now they're here with this. And it's not that they're calling it a vaccine injury, but they say it might be related. Yeah, there seems to be a reluctance to say that anything was caused by the vaccine. I think the first one being that if they label these reactions as from the vaccine, there will be a lot more vaccine hesitancy. And from what I understand, doctors are being told that they are to promote this vaccine and they are not to give anybody any reason not to not want the vaccine.
I verbalized it the first time in the hospital, the first time I was there. I got the vaccine on this day. I started twitching that day, and so to me it was 100% the vaccine. Never had anything like this before.
There was no catalyst in our life that could have brought this on other than the very like very close timing of having the vaccines.
And I'm like, what other reason would cause this? It would be the biggest coincidence ever if it was something else.
Well, I would always start it with, this is what happened as soon as I had my shot. I would always start my conversation with that.
And what was the reaction?
Oh, they would listen politely and shrug, and they never said very much back to me, none of them. But they all heard it.
Everybody in there, I'm telling, I'm vaccine injured. I'm vaccine injured. Doctor told me I'm vaccine injured. Everybody's tight-lipped. Everybody's trying not to say it's the vaccine.
She was like, oh, no. Like, no, like, you know, there's so many reasons why you can get pericarditis. Like, it can happen from like trauma, this and that. Like, oh, no. Like, it's definitely not the shot.
I phoned 811 and was told that it was all in my head. I spoke to the public health nurse in the vaccine clinic. I went all the way down there, and they told me that it was all in my head, that there was no way, right? So that's the second time I'd been told that.
They didn't really pose, they just said, oh, you're just having some side effects. Take these pills, you'll be fine, basically.
My husband has been sick for 6 weeks. He's been sick since the first one, and the second one just made it worse. Yeah, major chest and breathing, coughing problems, fever, just a mess. He looks like a coffin walking around. He's exhausted, coughing. So he has been seeking medical attention, and he's been told that nothing's wrong. His doctor hasn't made the correlation.
One time I went in, I was like, this is crazy. It would just do it all the time. This pressure would build and then stop. And all I could think of, well, this is a blood clot or something I'm feeling. It's just something's blocking, and the pressure, and then it breaks. And he said, no, it's probably just, you're just tense and your muscles constricted.
Yeah, there was at least 3 doctors that knew.
And as far as you know, they haven't?
No, they never reported it, I don't think.
I phoned my GP, and she actually, I was ready to have to fight, and she actually told me that there has finally the underrepresentation of the women in the vaccine injury is starting to be recorded.
I will say my GP was good about it. He didn't deny, and he accepted that was clearly an adverse reaction. So I feel like I got lucky, because I've heard of a lot of people talking to their doctors, their GPs, where the GPs don't want to make the correlation.
And I wanted him to chart it.
And did he?
No. He said, there's nothing wrong. It is imperative that you take the second dose, and people have side effects all the time. Totally sloughed me off.
To my knowledge, my doctor did not report this to any medical agencies. It wasn't until they all started communicating that they were willing to even say that this was a subsequent reaction to the COVID vaccine. It took probably 2 to 3 months.
I did ask him if he would report it, and he told me his initial response was that he didn't know how. And he said that I could look it up myself.
My doctor told me to report it. So he doesn't file it. I have to file it. So I called them on the phone, and I told the lady my story, and she said she didn't want to take my report because it sounds like I just had anxiety. Really? And so I was pretty upset, and I told her, who are you? I have doctor's reports. Do you know my medical records? Why are you doing this? This is the form that I went through to Vancouver Coastal Health. That's your adverse events following immunization. So this is where I called up, and they didn't want to take it. Finally, I had to push through, and they marked me down as an adverse event. I thought this was something you report. They called me in the end and said, okay, we got your thing here, and we can't really recommend for you any which way you want to go. It's your own decision. And I was like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? Well, for your next shot. I'm like, my next shot? This is what this is about? This is about a thing just to tell me what my next shot should be? Isn't this a way to investigate to help people what is wrong? Go further? Do some work? There's none of that. Yeah, it was bizarre. I felt like when this first happened and I went to the hospital, I felt like, okay, I'm the 1 in a million. I'm the lab rat. Well, let's analyze me. take me away. Take me to the hospital and do what you got to do. Let's figure this out. You know, I'm game. Let's do this. There was nothing. There's the door, basically. No help. Zero. Yeah, it really, really hurt. Really hurt. It really made a sick situation so much sicker. Because now you have to deal with, they don't care. What's going on in society? What has happened?
I almost don't blame a GP for not pouncing on the opportunity to report because of all the pressure that is coming down on them. I have to have some sympathy because it honestly can't be hard to be in the medical industry right now because of all the pressure.
It's just devastating that I got the way I got treated, and the fact that they said vaccine injury at the beginning and then they said nothing at the end just kind of made me feel like my story needs to be shared. This is happening to a lot of people, and I needed to get it out there.
So I called like Global News, I called CTV, and CBC. People that answered the phone definitely sounded sympathetic, and they're like, "Oh wow, like yes, I'll pass your story along to our journalists, and if one of them wants to talk about it with you, they will call you back." None of them did.
I tried CBC Global. I've sent them the emails, and I even tried a Democracy Now. I tried different ones. Yeah, nothing came back.
Really?
Nothing.
Not even
a thank you or no, we don't want to do your story or anything.
Really?
Yeah.
You see, I think that the news media kind of dumbs down a lot of things, and we don't hear the adverse reactions in that.
I used to be a news junkie. I would read the news like every single day. I would check the news updates like almost hourly. I was obsessed with the news. I'm not that way anymore because I've learned that it's definitely that news can be skewed in some aspects.
The messaging, you know, the constant, the tally that we had for well over a year, the death count, right? The case count.
Keep these people afraid. Keep telling them how many cases there are a day. You could have 5,000 cases, you could have one death.
And when we look at that in the bigger picture, again, the numbers are not as high as other conditions that we've been dealing with, but we're not blasting that all over the media.
I mean, if you've got this death ticker counting off how many people are dying every day, and you've got that being shown to you every day, that's going to mess with your psyche. You're going to be scared. I mean, imagine a death ticker going off for how many motor vehicle accidents there are every day, or how many people die of cancer or other diseases. I mean, you'd never leave your house.
If you look at Canada Stats, government website, they put flus, respiratory illnesses, pneumonias, they put that together under the respiratory. It was in the range of 25,000 deaths per year, and that was an average over 5 years. You look at the number of deaths from COVID, it was 28,000 in 21 months compared to 25,000 in 12 months. Is it a pandemic? I don't know.
It's a control tactic. Fear. It all boils down to fear. People are afraid of getting sick, even standing beside somebody who doesn't even have any symptoms. They're going to do exactly what they're told to do, not to catch that.
You know, I listened to CKNW, and I have to tell you that that red-headed guy, every time the words come out about anti-vax, it comes out, oh, not only are they the small minority, but they're antagonistic, they're vicious, they're bad, they're anti-social because they're causing everybody to get sick because they're not vaccinated. All that stuff, you can just hear it getting more and more intense. The verbiage of it, you know, that's alarming to me, and that's one of the bad things just another one of the bad things that's happening in society is it's pitting people against people.
I got hit by somebody and holding a sign, vaccine injured.
I was getting the nastiest messages from people I've known for 20 years.
To hear friends posting their hate, get those anti-vaxxers or whatever, and I post, well, I'm one of them, what's up? And, oh, well, you know, it's just, yeah, it doesn't feel good at all, man. It doesn't feel good anywheres.
It was nasty and it was violent and it was unnecessary.
I had people hating me, and it just blew my mind. After the first vax, you're a champ, let's go. Second vax, got injured, dude, you're lying. You're crazy. You can't be doing this. People are dying.
How dare I propagate not getting vaccinated, because by me doing so, all those deaths are on me.
Well, if your story got out, no one will take the vaccine. You know, this is why we have to stay quiet.
People are scared to say something because of people like that.
So what about truth? What about telling all the people?
People are dying from the vaccine too. We need to get this out there.
It's very scary. It's scary that you're not allowed to have an open discussion about this. The reason I'm choosing to be anonymous is because I do work for the government. I enjoy my job. I enjoy what I do, but obviously this is a very taboo topic, and I've had a hard enough year as it is with my miscarriage and my vaccine injury, and now being shunned from society. And the last thing I need is to have issues at work because I am being open about a taboo topic.
People that have chosen not to get the vaccine now aren't welcome at family events. You know, it's such a polarizing issue, it can hardly even be discussed.
It's dividing friends, it's dividing neighborhoods, it's dividing the country.
Like, doctors are losing their licenses over talking about this.
Why are their jobs being threatened? Why is their person being threatened? Why is their reputation being threatened? If they have information or a view that doesn't match the exact narrative. Those are big questions. And we need to ask them with open eyes.
It's become a very much them and you, and as opposed to the thing that they were saying, for the good of us all.
The media and the government, are they hand in hand together like this? Because there seems to be somewheres in there where common sense has just gone out the window.
I think the media has produced this war. There's a war on me.
It is blatant war against those that have not received these shots.
It's a separation from each other that is the most dangerous.
Isn't this one of the bad things that's happening? That it's turning us into good guys, bad guys. I'm the vaccinated one, so I must be good. You're the unvaccinated one, you must be bad. And the more they hype up the rhetoric, the more it gets us against each other.
I took the vaccine, I get injured, I get no help, and now I am the second-class citizen. I can't do things in my own town. I can't go to a gym, can't go to a restaurant. Does this seem right at all?
We're creating a situation where the people that don't choose not to be vaccinated for whatever of their own private reasons now don't have access to livelihood. You know, they can't go to any sort of social events. They're completely being ostracized. I just think it's terrible.
Yeah, it's total segregation. Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Right? Where I see the divide and this breakdown in society is from this divide, this man-made divide, and this one-sided information sharing.
And as far as I'm concerned, science involves debate and having open discussions, and science changes. And I'm just like, what is this? Like, what kind of science is this? Like, how come we're not allowed to have a discussion about it?
It's unbelievable, the censorship. I've never seen, think conspiracy theories, but when it happens to you, it's like, are you kidding me? Someone is doing this? Why? That's what I want to know.
Whether or not people want to comfort themselves by saying, oh, it's rare, it's rare, it's rare, it does still happen. And I promise you that if it happens to you, the whole rare narrative doesn't feel very good.
Where we're hidden, we're definitely hidden. That's 100%, we are hidden.
Why are they hiding my story? Why are they hiding so many stories? We're the people that everybody's trying to shush. It's crazy. And it's just the pushback is it's gnarly.
You're literally only allowed to like praise it And I feel like this is like a dream come true for companies like Pfizer because they have like every human in the world marketing their products for free. Like it's great, good for them.
Once we get the vaccine, we'll be through this. Once we get the vaccine, we'll be okay. And I can understand people accepting that because it's the carrots held out there. If everybody takes the vaccine, we're okay. And I don't know if you remember, but I think once we have 60% of the population vaccinated, we'll be fine. Then it's once we have 65, 70, 75, 70, 80.
You have to have that extra third dose. So what's this? You can't be doing that. And now the next one is you're getting your flu shot. We'll get that flu shot, and this will help you protect too. You got to get everything at once, the flu shot and the other vaccine. Makes me think I want to take out some money and put it in the stock market for these medicines.
And then the whole thing's been set up that it's the fault of the 40% or the 5% or the 2% who aren't vaccinated.
But I got pressured into doing this. I got hurt. I got censored and gaslit by the medical community, except for a select few, like my GP and my uncle.
It's really alarming to me too, because even though I was willing to get the vaccine in order to participate and be a good citizen, now having got so sick, still my union that's supposed to be protecting me and all of its members now is saying if you don't get your second shot, you're going to be put on 2 weeks unpaid leave. That's your last chance, and then you're fired.
I've been a union steward for 25 years. This goes against everything that I've believed in. Our union said, tough cookies, you're SOL, you're on your own, pretty much. So it's a healthcare union.
Once the public saw us as heroes, and now they see us as the problem.
Why do you think we have so many nurses refusing to get the vaccine?
There are people who were heads of emergency wards who are quitting because they know what this jab is doing, because they see the people in the hospitals and they know that most of these are jabbed people. They see the lies, but they get fired.
Well, I think that's just crazy. So I go in the hospital and the nurse has to see me going through what I'm going through, and whoever else she sees, and then she has to be told to take the vaccine, and she's been there dealing with what she's been dealing with for a year. Now she has to do this? That's horrendous. I can't even imagine that situation they're putting them in. No.
And the fact that all this is being hidden, my injuries, and now they're trying to mandate something without letting people know that this could be a problem, there's something going on.
Why are there mandates? That's a big question. Why are these there? Why are people being coerced?
In the 21 years that I've been nursing, we have never been forced to take any medical procedure or vaccine. There were some vaccines required for us to enter into nursing, but those were tried, tested, and true vaccines. Why they're pushing this vaccine so hard, I really don't get it.
It should be definitely in the choice area, not in the mandate, and not any government interference. So don't get me mad.
August, we said we had to have the shot, and I was torn, crying every night and not having that chance to say, no, I can't, my medical history.
They're not considering any kind of individual circumstances. So for myself, I have a genetic condition called Brugada syndrome, but I also am prone to myocarditis. If I take a shot, very good chance that I'm going to die. That's my choice. Well, I've got kids, I'm a mother, I want to keep living, right? So work or die, right? That's my choice. And the only way to work is with these shots.
It's weird to force a vaccine on somebody and threaten their livelihood, how they make money, how they support their families, if they don't take it. Particularly when the vaccine is not even that effective.
People who have 2 shots right now are getting COVID. Yeah, they're getting sick.
If you can have a country like Israel, 99% vaccinated, and they have the highest COVID in breakthrough cases in the world, that to me is like, oh, that's kind of a red flag. Maybe we shouldn't mandate that.
I have some freedoms that I can walk away from the job, but not everybody has that, and so they're making choices to get a shot when they don't want to. It is full coercion.
I'm pissed off, to be honest with you, that anybody should be put in this situation.
The government shouldn't be controlling your life to that degree. We used to have something of a democracy. I don't know where that's all gone.
I feel like as a citizen of Canada, I thought that I had more rights than it's been shown to me that I have over the last 20 months. Restricting movement, being forced to take part in medical experimentation. This is not the Canada that I thought that I lived in. Yeah, I'm shocked.
We are born free men and women, sovereign over our own bodies. We get to decide what we put in them, not the government.
My father fought in World War II. And they understood what loss of freedoms meant. And they heard how it happened gradually in Germany. We're doing it triple time here. When you don't have a freedom to choose if an experiment is injected into your body. Yeah.
I didn't want to get it all along. I didn't want to. I didn't want to be coerced into something. I feel like everyone should have a choice.
I don't know how they can get away with it, and people like me, I succumbed to that, and I do have remorse.
Sure, now I can participate or potentially participate in all the privileges that I get from Canada from being vaccinated, but at what cost? The cost is really, really high. Like everyone's getting sick. Everyone I know that's been vaccinated got sick after the vaccine, whether it was mild flu symptoms to myocarditis to full-blown COVID symptoms, to adverse extreme menstrual events. Everyone I know that I've talked to has gotten sick from the vaccine.
Every person.
Every person, yeah.
This one. When I first went, this guy was on the ball. And look, he just wrote this is the guy in the emergency room that I visited, and he wrote all this. She offered that numerous non-specific neurological complaints have been reported with both vaccines. The first doctor I had that saw me in the emergency room, he was the best doctor I've had through all of this. He was very interested. He actually called Vancouver St. Paul's Hospital Neurological Department because he was very concerned about the things that were happening to me. And they told him at that time there was high case numbers of neurological problems. This was on the 22nd of May at St. Paul's. So that's two people now that have told me from the doctor's reports, written in my medical reports, high case numbers of neurological issues at St. Paul's, and then this lady, the head of communicable disease in BC Coastal, told me on the phone, high case numbers of anaphylexic and autoimmune back in May and June. If that is known way back then, why do the general public not know? Obviously, they all know. This is written on these reports. They know this back in May and June. I don't hear that on the news.
So there's a company in the UK, and their job is to take a look at drug side effects. And they've been doing this for a long time, long before COVID. This is part of what they do. And when they look at the data and find that there are challenges with what they're seeing, they find that there's more adverse reactions than should be coming forward, then they write a report. Well, on June the 9th, they're called the Medicines and Healthcare Products Regulatory Agency, wrote a report. And in this report, they identified many of the challenges that were coming, the adverse reactions, which included bleeding and clotting and ischemic disorders, immune responses that were adverse, pain, neurological issues, loss of sight, loss of hearing, loss of smell, loss of speech. They also found that there were pregnancy adverse drug reactions, which were resulting in miscarriages.
So the website I'm on right now, it's called VG Access, but it's the WHO Collaborating Center for International Drug Monitoring. And all the adverse reactions that have been reported: blood and lymphatic system disorders, cardiac disorders, congenital familial and genetic disorders, ear and labyrinth disorders, immune system disorders, infections and infestations, eye disorders, gastrointestinal disorders, hepatobiliary disorders, immune system disorders, metabolism and nutrition disorders, pregnancy and perinatal conditions. I know that mainstream media is reporting that the adverse events are rare, but they are not. Those numbers alone are enough that this vaccine should have been shut down.
I think it's real. I think it's rarely reported. Geez, we get a bag of spinach that's bad, we shut down everything instantly. We're really good at that. Why haven't we done it with this? Why are they hiding us? Yeah, it really makes me wonder. There's a lot of wondering going on. There's a lot of unanswered questions.
The MHRA now has more than enough evidence on the yellow card system to declare the COVID-19 vaccines unsafe for use in humans. Preparation should be made to scale up humanitarian efforts to assist those harmed by the COVID-19 vaccines and to anticipate and ameliorate medium to long-term effects. As the mechanism for harms from the vaccines appears to be similar to COVID-19 itself, this includes engaging with numerous international doctors and scientists with expertise in successfully treating COVID-19. And the other part of the evidence that we have is that there are treatments that are available, and these treatments have been actively blocked. And so that in and of itself is horrific, because many lives could have been saved if people had access to these easy treatments that didn't involve any kind of a shot. The problem is that when there are effective treatments, you can't bring forth an emergency mandate for giving experimental shots. So that's the challenge that we're facing.
Thousands and thousands of doctors around the world who have been hammering at this, they're treating this, but nobody's listening because that drug is too inexpensive. That drug's been around too long. Am I allowed to say that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah, of course I'm talking about ivermectin.
They're taking away the best choice that we're seeing that science is proving to us.
There are many. One of the main ones is ivermectin. That's a medicine that has been for use in humans for more than 30 years, effectively in use, is used all around the world. The College of Physicians have stated outwardly that you are not allowed to use ivermectin to treat this condition. And that is something that, again, many of the physicians all across the world are mystified with. And there are countries that are openly allowing the use or encouraging the use, and they're finding that it is lowering their numbers significantly. It is an effective treatment. So that's just one.
It's won a freaking Nobel Prize. How many of these vaccines do you think are going to win a Nobel Prize? Right?
It did win a Nobel Prize a number of years ago for its use. And this has been actively blocked. You cannot buy it for humans anywhere. As well, the mainstream media is twisting it. They call it, you got to get your horse dewormer, right? Well, the same medicine is used for equine therapies as well. And the reason that people are going to purchase their ivermectin from the vet is because they can't get it in the pharmacy. It's been removed, it's been blocked, it's not available.
If you've lost your home, you can't go out with your children, you're going broke, you're looking for an answer, you're getting no help from the medical community, nothing, you're gonna go get everything you can. And when you see people, famous people on TV taking ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine, they're all better. Well, I want that too, Who wouldn't?
I know many of the doctors who sit in our alliance are bringing this forward for their patients with success.
We have a drug right now that can get us out of this crisis. We need to fight it now, and we need to use the tools that are already available to us that aren't making billionaires richer.
That's obviously what the doctors are going to go to, is drugs. What I encourage the people who have been working with natural medicine for 30, 40 years, they can work with the natural medicine just as effectively.
Why are they not promoting the things that help our immune system? Vitamins, vitamin D, vitamin C, zinc, magnesium. These vitamins help to boost your immune system tremendously, to the point where even if you came in contact with COVID, you probably wouldn't even catch it.
We have how many medical doctors, whether it's the Frontline COVID Care Alliance, whether it's the Critical Care Alliance, whether it's the Health Alliance, the Canada Health Alliance of Doctors. Almost any doctor who's not been censored is just talking about vitamin D.
As soon as I got the vitamin D, it was night and day. Within the first day, it really cleared up my mind. It cleared up all the troubles I was having in my head and the head pressure. Yeah, it got a lot better.
I do 5,000 milligrams of, or IUs of D3, zinc gummies, vitamin C, liquid chlorophyll, anti-parasite. I've done a complete 180.
I found out CBD works, so I went and got CBD, and that immediately slowed my tremors down. Within 2 hours, my tremors, I was just sitting here and I was like, first time I could just feel a little bit of relief.
Nothing is pharmaceutical. It's all natural. And that's what I want to stress with what I'm doing now. Because this is just, it's changed my life completely.
Big difference. The medication I got from my doctor that just makes you dopey, and sometimes that didn't even do that. When I was really bad, they kind of knocked me out. Some of them did. Some of them made me way worse. And eventually, they didn't really do much at all. The ones that made me worse, I couldn't take them ever again. Some of them made me really bad. Some of the strong sleep agents there, this olanzapine, I took that once and it was death. I thought I was dying. My sickness in this thing was just absolutely horrible. And so I didn't take that. Everything else, I cut their pills in two. Anything they gave me, I cut it in two right off the get. I'm not a pill person. And
are those covered under medical?
These are all covered. These guys are covered. All the good stuff, the vitamins, the stuff that can actually try to aid the problem, you got to pay for. These are all bills. Every one of these is $100, $200 that I've had to pay out of my own pocket. But the stuff to mask the problem, to manage it, just drug you up, knock you out, is given free. Yeah, makes you wonder. Yeah.
We don't have diseases because we're deficient in drugs. We have diseases because we haven't given our body the tools to do what it's supposed to do. This body has innate wisdom. That's why we call it the innate immune system. It knows what it needs to do. You just need to give it the tools to be able to do it.
Nothing heals the human body. Nothing except the human body.
Our natural ability, our natural immune system everything we got can fight this better than any vaccine can.
It became obsolete when mainstream media told us it was obsolete. when the government tried to convince us that natural immunity is obsolete. The truth of the matter is natural immunity is far better than the vaccine.
You know, we're not sure why they're not really looking at the actual science.
The politics is outweighing the actual science. So, and it's not about a belief. There's laws of nature that we have to follow here.
If you catch COVID and you haven't been vaccinated, your immune system does what it's supposed to do. You've got macrophages, that's usually the first line of defense. They come in and they gobble up the virus. Then your body starts producing antibodies to that virus, and it does what it's supposed to do. But it's left your immune system intact so that it still can produce other antibodies to other illnesses and diseases and viruses.
You have to now keep your body strong to not only prevent the illness from getting you, but also the adverse reaction that is actually happening in your body right now. It is happening.
Several of the doctors that are in the Canada Health Alliance are really taking a look. Some of them have been shot. What they're finding is that the clotting is happening in a large number of the people who've got these injections, and it's in the microcapillaries. So ask for a D-dimer and ask for the test to be done because you got the shots. You know, there is documentation that blood clotting is a big part of these shots, the adverse events that happen. So ruling that out, I think, is key.
The doctor, I don't even think he looked at my blood work because he never mentioned a thing to me about my blood work, which had abnormalities in it. He never said anything to me about that, just told me, take my medication, don't go on social media, the vaccine's safe. And I went to the naturopath 1 hour later after his, and my naturopath said, you have all kinds of problems. You have an autoimmune issue, your liver's not functioning properly, your heart has producing the troponin, you have other subtleties in your blood that's not right. And he started me immediately on glutathione, procaine, and B6 injections twice a week. And then got me onto a whole multiple of vitamins and different things to take daily. That really changed me. I did the glutathione injections for about a month and a half, and that's basically cleansing out, trying to cleanse the toxins out of me, and that really changed things.
Lymphatic cleansing is an important one because a lot of these, especially with the jab, post-jab, the lymphatic system gets congested, and we see this in the blood too. There's a thing called fibrinogen. And you see fibrin, you just see the blood getting clogged up. It gets clotting.
We can mobilize stem cells, we can increase vasodilation, we can increase lymphatic drainage, and we literally can jumpstart this mitochondrial damage that's happening both from the virus and from the vaccines.
It's not just taking pills, it's not just taking vitamin D or, like we've got this fabulous Chinese herbal formula that was developed for serious viruses. It was developed for AIDS and herpes. In Canada, it's called HRPC, as standing for, if you can figure that out, but you don't want to say it because Health Canada hasn't figured that yet. It worked on flus, it worked on colds, it worked on any kind of viral illnesses. It's still working.
If you contract COVID-19, the opportunity for recovery is 99.997%. And if you're younger and if you're healthier, that number goes up. If you catch a standard flu, the recovery from that is 97%. This is one of the most recoverable and treatable conditions out there.
So we've been treating this like the flu, like any virus. But your diet, your nutrition, your state of mind, your state of heart is affecting it.
And the thought of me giving my children that are all under 10 this vaccine is terrifying to me.
children don't know. I think that's very wrong, very wrong.
The idea of vaccinating healthy children and things like that, oh my God, come on. Like, let's just take a breath and actually just say that out loud.
Children 5 to 11, their immune systems are still developing and they're growing, and we need to allow them to naturally acquire certain illnesses and viruses and bacteria so that their immune systems can grow. Injecting them with this vaccine or this experimental drug will not allow that to happen. It will shut down their immune system. They will no longer have one. They will get sick with anything else that enters their body, and probably live short, horrible, sick lives, because they will have caught something that will have killed them that normally their natural immunity would have taken care of.
To vaccinate healthy children that have actually got robust immune systems that can actually wipe out this virus, right? Like, that's the point. Like, the idea behind that just makes me crazy.
And there's ones that are younger down in the States that are getting vaccinated too. But second, that may be the last generation. Who knows, right? Scary thought.
And another thing I find alarming is they're pressing it really hard on pregnant women.
And having kids, like, it just rip out your heart, you know?
To me, it's just surprising that the pressure is on a pregnant woman, or even one hoping to get pregnant, that this is one thing you want to do. You want to get that protection, they say.
I know multiple women who have developed very, very intense periods, like either missing their cycles or bleeding for weeks on end. I know multiple people like that.
I think it's really important that women understand that these extreme menstrual events that they've had are not all in their head, right? This is really, truly caused by these vaccines that are mandated by your government to take under duress. You know, we're being coerced to have poison put into our bodies, and everyone around us is getting sick.
The overuse of the word safe is making me crazy. You know, why do they have to keep saying safe, safe, safe all the time?
If it was that safe and effective, why would it have to be forced?
Kids are at the lowest risk here, and kids do not have the capacity to be informed. All they know is that they want to do what their friends are doing, right? So if a group of friends are going off to get shot, well, they're going to do that too, right?
Children want to fit in with their friends, with their peers. They want to do what their friends are doing. So even if the parents have talked to the children and said, I do not want you to get this vaccine, do not get it at all, no matter what, even if they show up at your school handing out these vaccines, you're not to get it. I guarantee that so many children will end up getting it just because of the peer pressure.
On Vancouver Island, there was the Vax van. And the Vax van was going around to bike parks and places like that to offer these shots to our kids without parents around.
When you have people going down to the community center at a vaccine clinic, going out and getting 12-year-olds off the skateboard park and convincing them to come in and get a jab without their parents' permission. This line has been crossed. So parents, start doing things. Start going to your principal, start going to the school districts.
There were a bunch of us that wanted to do something bigger. You know, we wanted to have more impact. We wanted to share this information. And one of the projects is the Shield Our Kids program, and we're sending out notices of liability. We used one of those notices of liabilities to change the stance for School District 47 in Powell River. They were going to hold a vaccine clinic there in the high school, and they canceled all clinics. They're not going to run any clinics because it's not legal to do that. But they didn't know that. So we're giving them the information, we're giving them the legal information, and we're giving them the scientific evidence that says why these shots are not safe or effective.
Girls are having reproduction issues, boys are having heart inflammation.
I believe if we're vaccinating our children, this is what they've got to look forward to later in life. We're going to see a whole generation of really sick individuals.
It's all wrong. It's just all wrong. I'm at the end of my wits there with thinking, how did it get to this place?
I don't know where this can go. I really don't know. It's scary. I'm scared which way this is going to go. Because if, just from my experience, and I don't know. Unless something drastically changes, I don't think this is going in a good direction.
What it's going to take to get out of this mess is people to wake up.
It's facts, it's not fiction, and we need to wake up and figure it out.
People are divided in all of this, and that's not helping.
If you just ask why, that's when the divisiveness will end.
We can all make a difference simply by saying, no, we don't comply with any of this.
We need to stand up and say, enough is enough.
Whatever needs to be done needs to be done. And I need to tell everybody what's happening, because I'm finding more and more people have the exact same side effects as I'm having.
What is going on with me is real, and that I exist, and anybody else going through it also exists.
We can't live with this elephant in the room anymore. We need to discuss this.
And we all need to start talking about it. We need to get the message out. Yeah, that's why I'm sharing today.
I think all around it's Canadians' turn to step up and quit believing this 2 more weeks. If only a few more people get vaccinated. I'll roll up my arm for you, why don't you? This kind of hate thing isn't helping anything.
Regardless of what you think about COVID, the COVID vaccine, or how it's handled, there's got to be a solution. And right now, people aren't talking about what they need to be talking about in order for it to be a positive solution.
There needs to be way more reports. I feel like more people need to know about the dangers of this. We all need to work together to try and get a handle on this experiment. People are getting sick, yeah.
What about having a system set up for adverse effects, a place where I could go? Like I said, what I expected when I first got it, there would be a place I would go to where they could just analyze me, look at me, what's wrong, let's figure this out, Why not that? Why not come on TV and say, yeah, we have adverse effects and we're treating them, we're finding you'll be okay, you'll get the best care in the world. Why not that method?
If we are truly trying to find out what these potential side effects are, when someone comes into hospital or goes into their clinic to see their doctor or their nurse, you need to simply have a vaccine safety officer. And it can be a nurse, it can be a doctor, that their job is to just report these adverse responses. A simple data collection is really all it is. Then we can get true data, or better, more accountable data, unbiased data.
Go to trusted websites. These websites that I've mentioned, they're full of doctors, they're full of scientists, they're full of virologists, they're full of researchers, they're full of people who've been the head of university teaching departments who all of a sudden lost their job because they spoke out. There are people who've had practices for 40 years in communities, and all of a sudden, because they've spoken out, they're losing their medical license or having to fight for their medical license. They're giving this up to speak out. I trust those because they don't have something to gain. Why would I not believe them more than somebody who's in here to make the big buck?
This is about humanity. And if we're truly fighting a virus that's affecting humanity, then why aren't we trusting the most brilliant minds of the world? Why aren't we putting our resources that we've learned, the medicine that we have available to us now, why aren't we making it available to the people that are dying? But everyone else has to be vaccinated or given a shot as a forced procedure. It makes no sense to me.
I don't think we'll ever know the full truth, to tell you the truth, because they're so good at lying and manipulating and hiding things. But the more we expose them, you know, the more we'll be able to keep our freedoms.
This is something extraordinary, and we need to understand that humans are naturally good. Most of us want to do the best that we can. And if we can, again, access our thinking brains and start looking rationally at what's going on around us, stop acting from fear, we're going to see the end to this.
I believe that the majority of people are good and do the right thing and will not let themselves get filled with hate. I believe that. I believe that what we're seeing is a minority controlling what we're seeing.
So you've got to get out of fear. Number one, you can't make intelligent decisions when you're in fear. And that's part of what I feel the whole propaganda issue has been.
It's just the hate seems to need a place to go. And now the hate is here.
Find good love and connection. That's maybe the biggest key now, because it lowers our stress load. And when we're not stressed, we're healthier.
It's love over fear. We know that love heals. I mean, that's you know, prayer, where people will get around and prayer for people, or healing of hands or whatever. We know that those things work. That's love. That's just sending love to people, sending love to yourself. Fear totally depresses the immune system. And that's not an airy-fairy thing I'm saying. That's fear shrinks your thymus. Your thymus gland is the gland that controls your immune system.
And that's the best advice, you know, turn off the TV, you know, start connecting with those that you care about and see the people. You know, the risks are low, and we need to connect. As a species, we need to connect with others.
If there are any class action lawsuits, sign your name to those petitions, right? You know, get involved with the people around you.
Because we need help. We need all the help we can get. And we need more of us.
I'm going to keep sharing my story. I'm going to do more videos.
We need to find a way to work together to put the choice back into citizens.
I'm not going to stop fighting for what I believe in and support those that are going to walk or have been fired.
That is so morally wrong to do this to people. They have every right to make this decision. Everybody has this right. Nobody should be forced to do, not at all. This is so much in question. The people are sick like myself. The science is not clear. This is new. This is an experiment gone wrong in so many ways, and yet you're going to force somebody to do this? Take away their livelihood, the career, everything? Can put that on the line? Oh, I think it's disgusting, to tell you the truth. I think it's really, really wrong. So in the last week, I've started jogging. I get up in the morning, I go into the forest, and I jog really lightly. If I jog hard, then the rest of my day is not very good. I start to tremor, some dizziness, some sickness, head pressure, the whole thing comes back. So if I just keep it, I'm walking a line right now. So a slow jog I'm at. But I've done that 4 days now.
I'm probably about 50%. After I got the diagnosis of transverse myelitis, they ran more tests. Permanent diagnosis is reactive arthritis, which is also very common with the COVID vaccine. I've gone through my angry stages. I've gone through, what the heck was I thinking? It depends on the day. I am mostly right now, I'm thankful because I know personally or really closely, friend of a friend, people who have died from the vaccine. So I'm mobile now. It's going to be a while until I'm 100%, but I'm here and they're not. So I tell myself that when I become angry, because that's all I've got.
It was the worst thing I've ever gone through. I'm scared to death still. I still wake up every morning glad to be alive. Like at night, I'm praying, hoping that I wake up tomorrow. It's not fun.
Today I went to see my family doctor, and now I've been prescribed medication that slows my heart rate. So there's that. I have no official diagnosis though, none. There's no blood clot showed up in my CT scan, my echo, it says my heart is fine. I am not fine. All day, every day, my heart is racing. I can feel it through my chest. The pressure is insane. I don't have pain, but the pressure in my chest all day, every day is brutal. And nothing makes it, no rest, no nothing makes it better. That's my story.
I'm too afraid. I haven't really gone too intense with my activities since because I just don't know what's going to happen. My breathing has not felt the same since. And so, yeah, like I have been a little too scared to try activities, to be quite honest with you. I have gone for walks, I've gone for hikes. I haven't ran yet, which is wild to me because it's been several months now. And prior to the shot, like I said, I ran almost 5 days a week.
It's just like there's this low level panic. Like I'm really frustrated that I was coerced into something that made me so sick and I'm still not better like all this time later. I taste metal. I still taste metal.
Really?
Yeah, 2 months later. Yeah.
Oh, that totally pushed it off that way.
Look at the camera.
Parents, if you're thinking of vaccinating your children, wake up. Do your research. Look at what's happening to other children who've been vaccinated.
This gene therapy does not fix the human body. And the fundamental oath that the medical establishment did was do no harm. And I'm sorry, that is an epic failure.
If you as a parent aren't worried about an experiment getting injected into your child that may make them sterile, shake your head. Well, whack your head with a 2x4. You know? Turn off your TV, turn off the radio, and start researching. Go to those good websites.
I think a really good place to start would be actually the Canada Health Alliance. We have a wonderful library of well-vetted, solid evidence. You know, you can look at a human like they are the most amazing person you've ever seen. You don't have to even know them to do that. And then you feel good. And then they feel good. And that lowers your stress load. You can start to think. It gets rid of that fear. It's an amazing process, and it's free.
Right from here, that's what it's about, you know. Here too, follow the money, right? Follow the money.
And my vision is certainly never going to be the same. It's like having dirty glasses on. Everything doesn't seem clear. You can't imagine how awful it is to feel so sick and helpless and know that you've done it to yourself because you let them give you the shot. Now that they're advocating for not even only the third shot, but even a fourth shot, how is this going to end? You can't be getting shots every few months just because of this. So I don't know if that's a good note to end on, but I really want you to stiffen up your back. If you're offered a shot, just say, why? And explain it to me more in length and tell me what are the side effects.
It's awful to feel not able to, just so not able to, just sit there and relax. I'm trying to. Oh, it's hard though, because so many things are going against me. Oh, now watch me get on the phone and talk like a normal person. I can manage that, you know. I hate to say that I can do that, but I don't feel like a normal person at all. At all.